So by now, we know what a shofar looks like, what it sounds like, and that we use it for Rosh Hashanah. What else could there possibly be left to know? A fair amount. Here's some fun facts. The shofar was heard emanating from the cloud at Mount Sinai. In antiquity, shofars were used to signal the start of a military campaign or a war. Shofar blasts were used to announce every month. They were used to announce temple sacrifices. They announced the Jubilee year. They announced Shabbat. They initiated and dissolved the most important Jewish courts. And as far back as the time of David, they were used as musical instruments. So, what do all of these things have in common? Some of them are religious, sure. Some are practical, opening and closing a court, announcing a new month, going to war. So really, the commonality here is the shofar itself. And we already know that the shofar is not in itself uniform. It is that rare, rare thing that is both sacred and profane. The Shulchan Aruch, one of our most accepted compilations of Jewish law, teaches us many things about the shofar. Here's a selection. It has to come from an animal that is kosher, but not one that was slaughtered kosher. I mean, it can, but it doesn't have to. It can be carved to make it more beautiful. It can be inlaid with gold, but it can't be painted. It can be made by a non-Jew, and I had to throw this in there. For some particular reason, it specifies one may not urinate in it. I'm just saying. Jewish law is an interesting thing. So why am I fixated on the shofar? Other than the fact there is so much to say about this instrument, how it's fashioned and how it's used, it's relatively mundane. So would I wax poetic about an oboe or a viola? Probably not. I don't know much about them. But the shofar isn't a sacred object like the Torah. Anyone can touch it. We just passed it around. Anyone can sound it. And if you break one, you don't have to fast for 40 days. So again, why the shofar? Well, let's go back, not that far, to that aspect that it is both sacred and mundane at the same time. In this respect, it is of vital importance. It becomes a symbol of the contradictory nature of life, of how a person, a family, a community can hold multiple non-conforming ideas at the same time. This concept is the heart of IFFP. Each of you in an interfaith family, you hold these contradictions closely and lovingly. They are not in awe, but they serve as counterpoints. You have the best insight on how supposedly opposite, supposedly antagonistic, supposedly unmatching ideas do not necessarily need to cause division. How instead recognizing that there are multiple angles and facets in everything, commonality can be found and celebrated. This is a unique gift of intentional engagement in interfaith life. As your families grow and change, as you mature, you never stop building and nurturing connections. And each of you, each family, each individual, you do it a little differently. You do it with individuality. So this time of year, we know IFFP seems very Jewish-centric. There's a lot of Jewish holidays right now. But let's think of it this way. This is an open invitation to explore more deeply that aspect of your interfaith lives. It's not pushing your Christian side aside, the traditions and the values aside, but giving us lenses, ways of looking at both, to appreciate and treasure them all the more. So that hearing the shofar, eating apples and honey, sharing a breakfast, how many other ways we celebrate these holidays, they're not just Jewish mitzvot. They are their own way of calling us to attention, to that awareness of the complex beauty that the world has. IFFP isn't entirely one thing, and that is the beauty and strength of you all. The shofar is not entirely one thing. It's not uniform. It's not in itself sacred, but it serves a spiritual purpose. It calls on us to be holy. In its many contradictory ways, it is a beacon and a clarion call. It calls attention to the hallowed in our lives. It awakens our senses to possibilities. It is a light on our differences and illuminates our many paths forward. So borrowing and adapting a little from Ted Lasso, be a shofar.